Hi, everybody. This is Ken Corbin, and welcome once again to the Manufactured Home Show. This is the program where I have the opportunity to chat with the absolute best of the best in our industry, from retailers, suppliers, communities, lenders, manufacturers, and today with Mr. Kurt Kelley of Mobile Insurance, who I'm sure you'll enjoy hearing from. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, perhaps you know someone who would be a great guest, or maybe you'd like to be a guest on the program, simply drop me an email to Ken at callkencorbin.com. And if you'd like to see this interview with Kurt once again, there's a couple places you can go to. Number one is my website, which is callkencorbin.com. And then just click on the upper right-hand corner where you see the tab that says Manufactured Home Show. You can also go to learnmh.com and you'll see a tab that says videos. Click on that, they'll all populate as well. Finally, you can go to YouTube, search Manufactured Home Show. Kurt Kelley and Ken Corbin will be there. And finally, my business Facebook page, which is Ken Corbin Speaker. And with that, let me take a moment and introduce today to you our very special guest, Mr. Kurt Kelley, who has been part of Mobile Insurance since 1996. He's not only proud of the company's steady growth and high client retention rate, but the nice home he's made for all the Mobile Insurance employees and their families. Kurt goes to work with his dog and has lunch with his wife almost daily, which is very special to me because I do the same thing with my dog. As the founder and publisher of the Manufactured Housing Review, it's a must-read published industry publication dedicated to the manufactured home industry and its professionals. Kurt is a past chairman and board member of the Texas Manufactured Housing Association. He's also co-founder and managing member of the American Insurance Alliance, an association of manufactured home specialty insurance agencies with total premium dollars in excess of $180 million. Kurt's a real estate owner and manager, managing member of the Expert Climate Control, and a commercial HVAC contractor. And ladies and gentlemen, with that, Kurt, I am so glad you're here. How the hell you doing?
Very good. Glad to be alive. Glad to be here. Good to see you, Ken. I every time I go to an event, I always ask, who was the best speaker? Who was the person you enjoyed most? And I usually hear your name. In fact, I always hear your name. And I don't know. I've been to your conferences and listened to you speak, and I think it's trying to put my finger on it, but it's knowledge and information you provide, but it's attitude with you so much and your enthusiasm for life. And I really enjoy that.
Well, Kurt, thank you so much. And I'll return the favor by telling people, I mean, there's virtually not an association event or major platform, statewide, regionally, nationally, that you don't see Kurt Kelley and representing Mobile Insurance to everyone in our industry. And that's a big reason, Kurt, obviously, for your success. But let me start off by asking you a question. This has really been a painful year for insurance companies with historically large fires in the West and the multitude of hurricanes hitting the coast. What does this mean to not only communities out there, but also the retailers in our business?
Well, it's been a tough year for insurance companies. They've lost a lot of money. You mentioned the multitude of hurricanes, the fires, the giant Iowa storm. Those are events, and you think, well, okay, I didn't have a loss this year. I'm okay. But the truth is, every time someone has a loss in New York or California or Minnesota, it affects us all because there's an insurance pool. Insurance companies are kind of a front company, and behind them are reinsurance companies, which cover all these giant claims. And they take a portion of the premium and they charge everybody for that rate. So all those events bleed down to us all. We've already lost one of our good mobile home park insurance companies. It looks like that's not going to be participating next year simply because of losses. And in their particular case, had some issues with liability in California, and lastly with the fires. So what does that mean? It means a little less availability, higher rates as a general rule. So you've got to be more careful from a business owner's perspective. What I tell people is you just got to run your business better, because your rates are going to be up a little bit if you're a good operator with a good loss control history and good loss history. But if you've had some problems, have been sloppy, boy, you're like the skinny bald guy at the big dance. Doesn't smell very well. Not a lot of people want to dance with you.
Well, I couldn't agree with you more about the storms. I recently had Barbara Haynes on the program from out in Iowa, and Barbara was telling us all about the windstorm that came through, obviously sideways. And I experienced one of those years ago. It came on so fast, so unexpectedly. And then I have clients down in the Lake Charles, Louisiana area, and they didn't get hit once, they didn't get hit twice, but 3 times within a matter of just a couple months. And unfortunately, as you know, Kurt, many of those companies down there, they not only devastated, but they're still in many cases experiencing losses of utilities and infrastructure, and it's been very, very hard. And speaking of hard, maybe can you share with our viewers and our listeners, what's the hardest part of doing the type of work that you do?
The hardest part for me is when our customers have a loss. It's not covered. It's either we haven't addressed it to them, or the potential, or we did and they didn't buy the insurance. So to me, that's the hardest part, is when someone calls and says, I got a real problem, Kurt. I need your help. And there's really no insurance for them. And sometimes that's because we've done at the worst case, the worst time is when our agents haven't ever mentioned to them about a coverage or something that would have saved them. So that's the one that keeps me up at night. We've had some catastrophic losses this year. And in some cases, we've had them well insured. Other cases, we've had them okay insured. So what is okay insured? Well, if your losses are $2 million and you're okay insured, and you got 70% coverage of all your losses, that's a 1.4 million of your $2 million of losses. So you got 600,000 in uninsured losses. Can you financially survive that? A lot of businesses can't.
Right.
So that's the worst part. That's the thing that keeps me up more than anything.
Yeah, that could be devastating. And you just on a quick note, based on what you just said, some of the coverages that maybe we don't talk enough about, or we do talk to them about and they bypass. Speaking of the fire, speaking of the hurricane, speaking of the windstorms, what would be 1 or 2 examples of the type of insurance that you would recommend a retailer or a community maybe consider adding on to their policy that they may not have today?
Well, a great coverage, and a lot of people think, I don't need it, it's never going to happen, which is probably true, but it's loss of income coverage with extra expense. If you have your business shut down because of a storm, a fire, and you don't have that coverage, your chances of survival are a great danger. So that's maybe one really big one. Another one is what we're seeing, and it's more and more and more and more, is wire fraud, electronic wire fraud. So you're an investment real estate company, which a lot of our clients are, and you've got $1.3 million cash in the bank. You're waiting for a big acquisition, and sure enough, someone gets hold of your bank account. They hack your system. They do a wire transfer from your account, and it's gone. It's not like a check where you can kind of follow it and chase it. Electronic wiring fraud. So you're going to be real careful today. One, you need coverage for that, but really you need to make sure that as a business owner, you've got very specific protocols on who can do wires, how they can be done, and where they go. In my case, I'm the worst case for that, because not only do I have a lot of cash in my account, it's not mine. It's the insurance companies. Sure. So it's terrible. So our rule at Mobile is there are no wire fraud transfers unless me or one of my executives is sitting in front of the banking officer doing the wire transfer.
That's an excellent idea. And I would think many people who are watching this, Kurt, they may assume, well, if there's wire fraud, it's not my fault. The bank should have known better. But the bank is only they perceive the instructions from you. So I think that's a tremendous bit of coverage that every business owner, no matter in our industry are out, no matter if they're a community, a supplier, or a retailer. I think that's terrific. Well, we talked about the hard things, but what you do, and I've been around you and I've seen the clients come up and thank you for the great job that you've been doing with them. But from a personal level, what do you see as like the most rewarding thing that you're doing?
Well, most of our clients are not giant multinational companies. They're guys like you and me and the guys we typically see at our conventions, hardworking people. Some of them might be financially successful, but you'd never know it. They just go to hard work every day, and they're not necessarily people involved in litigation their whole life. So to me, the most rewarding thing is when they have a real problem. They've got a big lawsuit come in, they've had a major loss with the wind, and they've had a potential $1 million plus problem. When they call up and I can tell them, we've got this. You've prepaid for this problem. You were a smart enough manager to look into the options, listen to us. Now your coverage is in place. There's no deductible. We're going to hire a lawyer for you. We're going to defend you. And we should be able to make this all go away. So you worry about it a little bit, but go home and go to sleep and go to bed. So because I've been there before, when you have that kind of backup, it's makes your life so much better.
Well, let's talk about, unfortunately today, and many of the people that are watching this today, they're probably in highly litigious or hostile environments, business-wise, from California to New York. I know parts of Kentucky and parts of the South. In those areas that are so highly litigious, what advice might you give those business owners in the way of insurance?
You can't be sloppy. You have to do things right. You have to contract right. You've got to work with your contractors properly. Your forms need to be proper. Your staff needs to be trained properly. You have to treat your employees according to every federal and state guideline that there is. And if you don't, you're just going to have a problem. For instance, I like, I've watched some of your interviews and enjoyed Maria Horton, California. I like listening to Maria because Maria's from California, and you can't do anything wrong in California or you will lose. If you go in front of a jury and you're a business owner, they don't view you, Ken, as just a hardworking guy. They view you as a rich guy that we can really soak and stick it to, and you're probably going to lose. So your best bet is to not get in front of that jury to begin with. You just have to do things right. You can't be sloppy.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more, because in many of these areas, you go in front, even in the small rural areas of some parts of this country, you're going in front of a judge who might be a second or third cousin, to the plaintiff, and you're there as a defendant, and they don't know who you are, like you said, other than some rich guy from Texas,
right,
that has all this money. And my God, he owns an insurance company, so he must be worth millions of dollars. So, I couldn't agree with you more. So if I'm a community owner in today's business world, is there any advice you might give that owner or operations manager of one of these large groups of communities?
One of the best advice I ever got was from someone who ran a ton of properties for a long time and never had any trouble. And what he had is he had a good set of park rules, and he enforced them regularly and consistently and with respect to everybody in the community. So, and he had in his mind, okay, so I've got a community rule about cleaning up your lot, and I'm going to make Mr. Smith clean up his lot, and I've got 100 tenants in my park. Well, he's the one who realized that, okay, I'm going to probably upset Mr. Smith a little bit, but the other 99 tenants are happy. They're happy that this guy's having to follow the rules and his place looks nicer. So have a good set of rules and consistently enforce them. And I think that goes a long way to making sure you don't have a problem.
I couldn't agree with you more. Do you look at the best operators that I see out as community owners? What they do, I say, is they set a standard. And that standard that they set is not only for all the residents in their community, but it's for them as well. If they want those communities to keep a nice, clean environment in and around their homes, they're going to do the same thing at their offices. They're not showing any favoritism, just like the example that you just stated. So I couldn't agree with you more. Now, from a retailer's perspective, and you've been around this business for quite a while, you see a lot of these retailers. What might be one tip or piece of advice you might give a retailer today?
For you retail, realize that what you're doing is really dangerous. So you're hauling a 40,000 plus pound object down the freeway that can't stop or turn very fast, and you're going to take it to a location and you're going to connect it to one or two power sources, either one of which, if anybody touches or smells or catches on fire, will blow up and kill everybody. And by the way, if it's all not done properly, the home won't set right, and you're going to have a tenant or you have a buyer that's going to be upset. So my advice to all of you retailers is make sure all the people that you're hiring to do these difficult, dangerous jobs, hauling homes, installing homes, connecting to electricity, connecting to air conditioning, make sure all of those business partners of yours, and they are business partners of yours, because you will be sued when they screw up. Make sure they're all insured, and make sure you've got a contract with them in place. And it's a bad habit, Ken. It's been a bad habit for years. There are good guy manufactured home retailers just have a handshake agreement with old Kurt or old Ken. Don't worry, I know that he'll take care of the problem if he causes a big problem. Well, Kurt or Ken might intend to, but if he causes a $200,000, $400,000, $1 million problem, he has no ability to pay that unless he's properly insured. So make sure that the people you're dealing with are licensed, insured, and work under a contract. That contract should basically say, if you mess up and you cause me a problem, you'll fix it.
Now, that's a great example. I recall years ago when I had my company, my office manager had a little tickler file, and every year, depending on who the contractor was, that tickler would come up, and she would check to make sure that it was about time for their current policy to elapse, and they want to make sure that it was renewed. So, what a great philosophy that you gave an example, I should say. Now, from your company's perspective, obviously you've grown it exponentially. You've built a wonderful team. What might be one of the keys to success for mobile insurance?
Well, I think it's just treating people like you'd want to be treated, getting back with them, communicating with them. Even if the answer is no, I always appreciate when I call someone and I say, hey, can you do this for me? And they go, we don't really do that very well, or we do it okay. I know someone that does it better. Call them. Or if I'm going to do it, it's going to take me 3 weeks. Or if I promise someone that's going to be a week and it's 7 days have gone by, call them and tell them I didn't get it done. It should be 3 more days. I just wanted you to know. People really appreciate that because it makes you unusually good communicator if you even tell people what you can't do and that you'll be late. Because other people just ignore it and go, I know I told you a week. I won't call Ken back because I don't want to call him because it's kind of hurt my feelings too. So just don't do it. Just be honest about it. So brutally honest on a lot of stuff helps.
It's so true. We're not perfect.
Yeah.
And the only one that's ever been perfect, they put him on a cross. So what a great example. And let's talk about something enjoyable. I know you're a motorcycle enthusiast, just like I am. And I recall, I think I might have talked to you about a dear friend of mine planning another trip from Mexico up to Alaska on his BMW, wants me to join him. But you and your son, and this is a great story to share with our viewers, you guys circumvented going all the way to Ecuador on motorcycles, which I think is tremendous. What did you guys learn from that experience? And as a business owner, Kurt, what could you take from that and incorporate into the company?
Other than only eat cooked food, I would say perseverance. We went on a 10-day unguided tour. So we had maps and GPS. And I remember one time we were in the middle of a field with chickens and a mountain kind of area, and we had no idea where we were. And a little farmer was kind of coming out, probably to run us off, but really to kind of find out if we needed any help. And I remember kind of looking at my son and my friend that was with us and going, we're pretty lost, but we're okay. We've got beef jerky in the backpack and we've got a bottle of water. So if we can sleep outside, we're okay. So perseverance and not panicking.
Wow, what a great story. What type of motorcycles, may I ask?
We had adventure bikes, so we were on BMW GS
Mhm.
800s and a Triumph. I was on a Triumph Tiger 800, which I really enjoyed. Triple, maybe a little smoother than the BMW. So I had tried that out and I liked it a lot.
And my friend has a GS 1200. I have an RT, but
Oh,
I think for a trip to Alaska, I think I better maybe consider the GS probably better than
yeah, the RT is going to be smoother on the highway, and the GS is going to get you down the dirt road a little bit better.
exactly,
That might
exactly.
be better.
You're an avid reader. I know that. And maybe is there a book or two that, from our readers' perspective, you might recommend that they consider picking up and reading? Not maybe not just about business, but life, but anything special that you want to share with our viewers?
My daughter gave me a really good book tip this earlier this year. It's called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. And I don't read a ton of business books because I
Mhm.
like to kind of get away from it. But
Sure.
this is a great book on negotiating. The author is a former FBI uh, kidnap people negotiator, getting people out of problems. And,
Wow.
and he throws it, he weaves all those stories in to show you what he can do and how to negotiate and how to start things when you're trying to get into an issue. And I found it very interesting. I also found it very educational. I can be a little too soft and nice sometimes on things. It was a really good thing on here, explain to me. So, like, if I call you, Ken, I want to advertise the program. I'd really like a discount because I know, I'm a great guy and I'm pretty and beautiful and all that stuff. And as opposed to saying, yeah, you are, Kurt, your answer would be, well, really, you're on the Ken Corbin show. This is the biggest deal in the country. We've got a great reputation. You're not going to believe all the people that you're going to meet. Let me tell you more about what we can do. And then tell me why not only are you worth what you're asking for, you're worth a lot more.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting. It's called Never Split the Difference. It's an easy read, fun read. Enjoy it.
Terrific. Terrific. Well, this has been a great interview. Like I said, I've really been looking forward to this. And I'm sure there's going to be some people that say, I really like what Kelley had to say from his company. But so if they want to reach out to you, if they want to call you, if they want to email you, maybe can you share with us some good contact information?
Well, thanks, Ken. Thanks for having me. A great way to reach me is email Kurt, Kurt, at mobileagency.com, or you can call me on my phone, which is 281 extension 117. We're at mobileagency.com. Lots of ways to reach us. Just like you, I like it's easy to reach you. It's easy to find you. I like that.
Make doing business with you easy, right?
It makes it easy.
Terrific. Well, Kurt, again, I want to thank you for being a guest today. It's been a pleasure. For everybody out there, I'll mention one other thing. Kurt and his wife both recently had a touch of the COVID, and we talked about that earlier before the program. Obviously, you came through in flying colors. We appreciate you're still with us, and we look forward to hearing and seeing you again. And for everybody out there, thank you once again for watching this edition of the Manufactured Home Show. Goodbye.